Hi Stonington, thanks for tuning in. We are really excited to be here today with Kerry to talk a bit about her relatively new position of youth service officer. So thank you for coming and taking some time to be with us. You know, you're really busy. But maybe you could start by just telling people who are listening what a youth service officer does and a little bit about why you really wanted to do it.
Sure. So the youth officer position within our police department is primarily the liaison to all of the schools. I teach D.A.R.E as well, which is awesome. I know a lot of people think, you know, D.A.R.E doesn't really do anything, and really and truly what it does is it creates a bond between, you know, kids and law enforcement and in a good way, and keeps us, you know, in a good light. And I plan on being in this position for as long as I'm able to. So I'll be with these kids throughout their, you know, middle school careers and hopefully through their high school careers as well. So they start that bond there. We get to have all these great conversations and whatnot. And then on the other side of things too, any juvenile related cases that come up within the town, I handle. And yeah, so it definitely keeps me busy. Technology, you know, is a big thing with kids nowadays, right? So everyone has a smartphone and everybody knows how to use them most better than, you know, their parents or myself. So it keeps me busy.
That's really good. So what would you say are some of the things that people maybe aren't aware of that a youth service officer does beyond what you kind of just shared, or kind of the positive impact it can have for kids?
Aside from all of that, well, it's just a matter of, so, I mean, some parents can call me and reach out to me and just say, hey, look, my child's having a tough time today, or, you know, do you think you can just swing by and maybe reinforce some rules, and I'm having a hard time with that, and usually, you know, it's not me showing up and saying I'm going to arrest you or anything like that, you know, and that's, I don't want to be used as that tool. I don't like when police are used as that tool, you know, hey, they're going to come here and arrest you, but you know, there are ways, like I can just show up, sit down and be like, hey, you know, what's going on? Like, we do have these rules that are in place. It's kind of, it's support for the parents as well as just the kids too, so.
That's really great. And do you know how long we've had a youth service officer in Stonington?
There has been a youth officer for, goodness. So I've been here, I just started my 14th year, so Sergeant Marley now, he was in that position for I think 10 years when I first started, and then Tom Page, who's recently retired, he was there for 5 years. So at least, you know, the whole time I've been there, you know, and then prior to that, there's always been a youth officer in that position. So.
Right. And how are you guys adapting with COVID?
Us as a whole, department whole,
or in your
just
position?
In my position. So, I mean, it makes it different when we teach D.A.R.E, you know, because the kids do, it's cohort A, cohort B, and then some that are fully distant learners. So. This is my first year teaching D.A.R.E, so it's a little, it's new all around, right? You know, and some kids are on the computer and others are in front of me in class, so I feel sort of stuck in front of a computer and trying to, I had worked with a really great, the health teacher is awesome, and she's, you know, we figured things out together, and, you know, it's a work in progress, and the kids are patient, and that's helpful too. So, I mean, everybody, it's tough having to wear a mask, you don't really get to read facial expressions as much, but we figure it out.
Yeah, everybody's figuring it out, right? What would you say are some of the top topics that maybe kids want to talk to you about or engage about, or parents reach out to you for?
A lot of it has to do with all these social media apps and that the kids are involved in, and I think honestly COVID unfortunately has pushed kids, you know, we're social beings by nature, right? And kids especially, and so now that's kind of been taken away to be able to socialize one-on-one, and so, you know, and more so nowadays they're drawn to all of these different gaming apps and stuff like that, or TikTok or Instagram, and they can be fun, they can be, but then there's a harmful side to it as well, you know. So that, I think that is probably one of the biggest things I have going on right now, is just the safe usage of those apps, being appropriate while we're using those apps. And I think that they've always been there, but I think it's just more now so, because kids have a lot more time on their hands, and that's what they're engaging with, you know, just to try to maintain some sort of a social level, because sports are kind of a, you know, those have been put on hold, right? All these things that they got to do last year, you know, they're not able to do them now, and it's tough. It's really hard on them.
It is really hard. I have one more question about D.A.R.E.
Sure.
So in terms of D.A.R.E, would you say, like, I know I took it actually at Stonington, but yeah, has it evolved, would you say, or is it kind of a similar program, or topics that you touch on?
So D.A.R.E is a regimented, program, right? They have the lesson plans that you're supposed to follow, which for the most part I do, but there are some other topics that I like to throw in there that I think are important, or I can kind of like branch off of it once we've completed that lesson. Like situational awareness was one thing that I paid attention to. It's not just, being aware of your physical surroundings and who's around you, it's also when you're online too. I think that that's something important to talk about. Like if you're getting a friend request from somebody that you don't really know who they are, but guess what? That's going to get you the 1,000th followers, so you accept them. But now you don't know who you've just invited to, look at all of your stuff that you have on there. So has D.A.R.E evolved? I think it's basically has the same concept, like when you and I probably both went through it, right? But yes, it's evolved more so because now there's, internet safety as part of it, opioid. And just paying attention and being aware. It's not just say no to drugs, right? It's more of a, when you're exposed to certain situations, or if you're confronted with these different situations, it's a D.A.R.E decision-making model is kind of like what we go through. We break it down and what are the best ways that you can handle it, and I try to tie it in and make it more real life.
That's really good. It's really needed, I'm sure, on many levels. No, but thank you, Kerry. And then I guess just before we close, is there anything else you'd like to share as a message with any parents or kids or people in the community who are listening?
I guess, I just keep doing what you're doing. Everybody's doing a really great job. I know it's tough. Pay attention to what your kids are doing on the internet. There's one more thing that with the high school, I'm part of their voice program that they've been doing, and they have different series that they're doing and whatnot. And so tomorrow night, actually, with Alicia Daw, we're doing a parent piece regarding that.
For those who don't know, will you tell them what voice is?
So hopefully I get this correct, but voice is really about giving all of these kids a voice, like different avenues to be able to come forward and talk about things, and just letting them know that we're all here and providing them with information to, if maybe they had these thoughts in their head, they weren't quite sure how to, maybe talk about it, like just giving them the option to come out, talk about it, giving them different ways that they can, and safe zones, stuff like that too.
That's great. We'll have to share some information about that. But thank you so much for coming in
Absolutely.
today.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.